CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success. Welcome back to CMMS Radio. I got Giuseppe de Brusinis. He's with Nanoprecise. I've got Kevin Clark. He's also with Nanoprecise. I just spent a bunch of time with Kevin at SMRP number 33, 2025 out in Fort Worth, Texas, and we put on an awesome special production called Friends of Nano Presented by CMMS Radio. Kevin, thanks for putting that all together. And first, I just want to knock out a little bit of your feedback on how that went, how much you probably saw the clip we did with Ashney on how that helped with the flow of the traffic, and a lot of people were talking about it. A little bit of feedback from you on SMRP and the Friends of Nano special production.
Yeah, like you said, it went really well. I think everybody that was there was satisfied, and in most cases, super happy with the way it went. It's really kind of the front end, Greg. It's the front end of starting to bring these technologies together. Some of us that have been around for a long time say it should have happened 20 years ago. But we want to make it the norm that it's okay that these systems are feeding each other. It's less the norm these days to connect them. And it's much, much more, how do you want to say it? It's much more difficult to get organizations to take two systems and put them together and get valuable insights and do valuable work. In our industry, it's much easier to keep them separate. And I think this is some of the first steps to bringing them together and making the norm connected, not disconnected.
Yeah, and we had a lot of support on that. People stopping by, jumping in, sitting down and recording. Off the gate. Quick shout out to Reliability X for bringing my recording rig, the Nanoprecise team for getting me set up on the end cap with an incredible backdrop, really nice graphics. We had, of course, we're going to talk about them today, MaintainX. They were there. Yep. We brought in Brightly. We had Ultimo. We had eMate. We had WCI WearCheck International. We also had a Levotech. We had some participation from Upkeep from afar just to support the production.
Yep.
And we also had Mentor APM. And I think overall, the idea you've described, it's happening now. So the thing I want to talk about today, and I'll kick this over to you for a minute, Giuseppe, is Nanoprecise and MaintainX now officially partnered up in this spirit of the nanosphere that I like to call it, where you're going to work together to help one another's clients do better. So what are your thoughts, Giuseppe, on A, how exciting it is, and B, what that's really going to look like moving forward?
Well, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we're super excited. It's I think it's one of the strongest, latest partnerships that we closed, and the model is quite straightforward. It's an integration and co-sell model. Obviously, the integration is the underlying opportunity for clients to seamlessly use Nanoprecise and MaintainX as if it was one, which I think is really where the value add comes. As Kevin mentioned, there's a lot of friction nowadays in trying to work with different systems. But once you have this flawless integration, the opportunity for the client is to just go, yep, I have this CMMS, I have this predictive maintenance solution, and they work in concert. And the value lever is just extreme savings in terms of time, headaches, right? It's just there and it's usable. And obviously, from a commercial standpoint, we get the opportunity to collaborate on whether it's our clients who are looking for CMMS or their clients are looking for predictive maintenance or brand new clients that are looking for a joint solution. So it creates a tremendous new opportunity for us to have fun together, and help clients out together, but with this strong joint proposition rather than something disjointed and then having to do ad hoc integrations each time, which costs a lot of time and money and delays the projects. The clients have more complexity, right? So we are extremely thankful and grateful for this partnership, and we're very excited to kick it off.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it all unfolds. I think it's really good for the industry. I love to see that you guys are working together and essentially telling everyone else, hey, you can do this too. So I want to switch it back over to you, Kevin. And for anybody that doesn't know, could you give us kind of a real basic kind of synopsis on what Nanoprecise really does? And your own take on how this partnership and moving forward really unfolds for the industry and people that leverage it with both technologies.
One of the things that has really held us back over the years is and most vendors really don't realize how much authority, how much power they have in setting the tone. And so part of the initiative here is to take some of that power to set the tone and start breaking down the walls, because you'll have CMMS, you'll have analytics and sensor companies like ours that hesitate to move towards one CMMS or the other, or towards one sensor company or the other, because there's business aspects to that, right? And why would I do that strategically and connect to one versus another versus another? And those walls inside of the vendor competitiveness have helped to set the tone for don't connect. And so I think that's part of the initiative here is to, from Friends of Nano, is to break down those walls and start working together and helping our customers to change the trajectory. Here at Nano, we're a sensor to cloud to analytics business. We've got a little bit of a differentiation in our energy focus, where we focus on how much energy you're actually consuming on a motor, a pump, a blower, a fan, whatever it might be. And so we do all of the other things like predictive through vibration and temperature and your normal, what I'd call table stakes inside of the predictive space. But that energy aspect is really catching on. It's one of the things that drew MaintainX to us, is the fact that we have that, different than all of our competitors. And I think it's really grabbing the attention of practitioners around the world. It's a fast mover. It makes sense. We've been monitoring energy for a long time, but we've never done it down to the component level, and we've never connected predictive together with the consumption of energy. And so it's very unique in the business.
And it speaks to something that's I think it's always been there, but now it's got a lot more momentum, and this is around the concept of sustainability in all aspects of what we do. And there's people that are trying to chase down like net zero and all those things that I don't often talk about, but I know they're there. So that's important. And let's face it, MaintainX, with all the things they're doing, how they're growing, how they're really focusing in on listening to their clients and what their needs are. These are opportunities for their clients to thrive even more, leveraging these technologies together. And I like seeing that. So Giuseppe, I've talked to Kevin about this. He's talked to me about, we've had these conversations. I have it with a lot of people. I've always thought the idea behind companies in the space that are competitors, kind of, we're competitors, but we're in this overall arching, like under this umbrella called the industry, and we can do things together without being quite as competitive and focusing more on the industry outcomes, on the clients and what they're really driving and receiving or achieving from a value perspective. Do you have anything to add from that perspective as to what you see and what you see happening in the coming months or maybe year or two through these kinds of relationships like the one you have with MaintainX?
Absolutely. And I think that's a great point. So first of all, a quick touch on the sustainability element. I mean, the sustainability play is, to me, a great example of how you can marry sustainability with efficiency and profitability, right? Sometimes there is this concept of, if you do sustainability, you're just spending money to be nice, and otherwise you're only pursuing profits, right? I think what we nailed at Nano is really that beautiful in between, where you can look at both simultaneously. And so we're really excited to bring this to market more, as Kevin was also sharing. It's a strong differentiator. And so the moment we are able to bring this philosophy in concert with our players, obviously today's MaintainX, hopefully tomorrow will be with more. I mean, we do have already existing partnerships. It's public out there, with companies like Henkel and Honeywell, but essentially we're trying to bring our philosophy and see how can it marry the landscape. And of course, is there still is there competition? Yes, there is competition. But when you look at this ecosystem approach, I think there's so much beauty to be created and so many use cases that really start to glue the ecosystem together. I mean, now the underlying cloud architecture has become a norm, but even if cloud is the norm, paradoxically, it still feels like disjointed. Like you would expect that the cloud has brought streamlining across collaborations, clients, and vendors. But the truth is, there needs to be that spirit of looking at the ecosystem rather than just going in silos or just doing it on a case by case. And so I see a lot of opportunities to create almost like little marketplaces, and everybody will have their own. I mean, MaintainX have their own. Paradoxically, we're starting on a track where, one day we could have, our own set of integration marketplace as well. And so that's really, in manufacturing, I think, in the manufacturing space, it's taking on a little later than in other industries. I mean, I used to work in banking prior, and in banking, it's norm, right? You need to be integrated to everything, and it's all together, right? In manufacturing, I think it's picking up, and I think it's because there's a lot of physical component, and there's also a little bit of philosophical slight difference, but it's catching up, and I think this is the right time to see, incredible new collaborations coming up. And MaintainX is just a great example, but I'm really curious to see how the market evolves and really start bringing partners together on a fully integrated basis.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I love watching it. I want to see how it really unfolds. I like to maintain, I'm going to say healthy as a placeholder, a healthy level of kind of skepticism on a lot of things when new things are happening. But I get excited about it because when it turns that corner, I also am paying close attention to what's possible. We're all talking about it right now, and it's going to be a really good thing. So I'm excited for it. Kevin, I'm going to give you the kind of last word here on what happens next and what people should do at this point. If they hear this and they want to get involved, they want to find out more, who should they reach out to? How should they find you? Anything like that. And then I'll close out the episode.
Yeah. I think, Greg, that we got what we wanted at SMRP. I think we can all agree on that. We got a reaction. We were looking for a negative reaction. We were looking for a neutral reaction. We were looking for a positive reaction, right? We clearly got the positive reaction. And I think that was message enough that we've touched on something that's important to a lot of people, important to a lot of organizations, and that's bringing the data together, bringing the actions together with the insights, right, and making sure that we're not holding an industry down because of competitiveness in the market. We've got to keep the competitiveness. That's part of how it works, but we have to come together as an industry so that we can all work in the same ecosystem without competing in a negative way.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the kind of the start to Friends of Nano. Of course, at the end of the day, it's not going to end up being Friends of Nano. That's what fixed all of it. But Friends of Nano can be that first step to bring companies together. I think even our competitors were looking at it and saying, "Yep, that's what needs to happen." I think they would have rather they did it than us, but our competitors are saying, "Yeah, that's what needs to happen. We need to start bringing all of our data together." Obviously, Nanoprecise, yourself, others that have jumped onto the bandwagon are going to continue to promote this. In fact, we've got numerous requests to come together with other companies to project Friends of Nano out in the coming together of data in the condition monitoring space. I think that's the future. I think we're going to step into it. We're not quite ready to run, but I think run is somewhere maybe towards the end of next year, maybe next SMRP we're running. But I think as far as Nanoprecise, I mean, I can be one of those contacts. Giuseppe can be one of those contacts. Ashley can be one of those contacts to get a hold of and help point people in the right direction, depending on where the request is coming from, whether it's potential clients or practitioners, service providers, OEMs, whatever it might be. Any one of us, myself, Ashley, or Giuseppe would be good.
Awesome. And I'll throw my hat in the ring on that too. If somebody needs help and they want to talk about something they're trying to do and they think this would make sense, I'd be happy to talk to you and make these introductions and get those connections going and
Perfect.
help you document some of it. So Giuseppe and Kevin, Nanoprecise, thanks for joining me today on CMMS Radio. It's a Friends of Nano episode, and I'm excited about your partnership and how this moves forward with MaintainX. Shout out to that great team.
Thank you so much.
Same here. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Giuseppe.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.